You're talking about changing the mindset of the African for national development. We have a way of thinking, and that is affecting our growth and development. And so today we want to see how best we can change, we can reset our thinking so we can grow as a nation, as a people.
Classmate 1.3 FM.
All right, so thank you very much. This morning it's time for Edition Trends. We are going to go very fast today because our guest is already seated. One of the things that I want everyone listening to us this morning to know is that God has blessed us as Africans, especially as Ghanaians. And we need to think and be positive and do the right things. Things are going to work out for us. We don't have to look at things as if everything is in disarray. I was telling somebody yesterday that the former president, His Excellency Mahama, did so much. What they did was that he built a lot of hospitals. I'm a Ghanaian. I've been in this country all my life. He did very well in the area of health. But in my life as a Ghanaian, I've never seen any government invested so much in the area of education than the school president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Within this 5 to 6 years, he's done so much. You have no idea. And this morning, I would like you to go on Facebook. You can get us on Facebook at Transformation Agenda Series page, Word Radio GH, Class FM Online, or Class 91.3 FM. And you will see the buildings. I'm not talking about renovations. I'm talking about buildings that have been built from scratch. A lot of people are talking about infrastructure deficit, the fact that our schools are choked. But let me tell you something. Because the president is aware of the intake, this year we took almost 500,000 plus students on the free senior high school policy. And so he's building to accommodate all these numbers that are going to come. He's not left us alone. Government is doing so well. And when it comes to education, in the history of this country, I don't think anyone has done better than the president has done. Wherever you are, Mr. President, Your Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, God bless you so much. We appreciate what you are doing. We appreciate you so much. And the Honorable Minister for Education, Honorable Dr. Yaw Seidu Chum, wherever you are, God bless you so much. God bless you. You are doing so well for this country. You have no time to sleep, no time to rest. You go on WhatsApp 12 a.m. and he's online. God bless you so much. Even the time he reports to work. God bless you and all your deputies and all the directors for education. God bless you. Laurentia Baby is here. Good morning, Laurentia.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Wow. God has blessed you so much.
So much.
Somebody told me that when he hears your voice on radio, he feels so good.
Oh, wow.
All right. So what has gone on with the minister?
A lot has gone on.
Tell us all the things that have gone on. We want to hear them this morning.
Yes. So I would like to say a good morning to our listeners for always being with us on Educhum and then the whole show.
Sure.
So I would first say that our minister has been doing so much to try and then get let me say his students on his side. I mean, you can't be a minister of education and your students can't have access to you. They can't have that opportunity of at least seeing you, even though they can't even speak with you or something, but they should have that privilege of seeing you. And that is what our minister has been doing for quite some time now. He has been on the school tours where he goes to basic schools, senior high schools and all that to see the students, their welfare and a whole lot. So we had the minister at in the eastern region. I mean, he visited a couple of schools in the eastern region.
Oh, okay.
We had a Brig Girls,
Wow.
Southampton, and a lot of other schools. And all this is just to make the students feel like, yes, they have a Minister of Education that seeks the proper welfare of them. I mean, to make sure that they are in good care. He goes around to see how they are being treated in the schools and all that. So I think we're actually in the right step.
Great.
And also, we've had issues
Okay.
of people complaining about the free senior high school.
Okay.
Yes. I'd like to say that His Excellency Nana Addo and then our Honorable Minister are so much into the free senior high school.
Okay.
Because it's more or less part of our educational system. Yes, to boost our fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah.
And without our education 4.0 in our fourth industrial revolution, I mean, I don't even think the fourth industrial revolution is even a revolution in the first place. Yes. And we've had concerns on it where people think that the free senior high school should actually be reviewed.
Okay.
And the minister has a different opinion.
Okay.
With together with His Excellency Nana Addo.
Okay.
Well, a different opinion, not in as indifferent. It comes to the fact that reviewing the free senior high school means that there is a pothole somewhere that needs to be filled.
Okay.
Yes, but in actual sense, there is not. Because whatever intentions or whatever plans that were laid down to bring the free senior high school into being is what is actually being executed. So immediately there is a review, then it means that plan is not working.
Okay.
But it is working. Yes. We've had a couple of issues from people with regards to food and all other items. But the minister is doing so well to get all of them done. I mean, we've had a couple of schools in the central region receiving their food items, and I think other schools as well. And we've had the minister making sure that our books, the textbooks and all that for the senior high schools are also being made ready. I mean, we have appointed time getting most of them done. And then that is the first phase of the textbooks that will be given out to the Volta and then some part of the Greater Accra region. So I think the minister is doing so well. So with the review, he has made it clear that the free senior high school is actually on track. I mean, it's on the right track. So there would not, for now, there would not be a review on the free senior high school. So I think with time, we would get better.
So, of course, I mean, when you talk about even food shortages and all that, we are talking about a lot of people were of the view that we have to pay. So if there's the food shortage and it was free, you could go to the school and, I mean, give some of the food you eat at home. You know, I was a school prefect at Apam Secondary School. When we were in school, there were times there was no water. You just have to get one pail of water and you clean yourself. You go to. We never called home to say there was no water. There were times we went to the dining hall. We're getting 2 balls of kenke. We're getting what? See, this is part of training. You go to school. There's no food. You learn. You understand that life is not always smooth. It is part of education. They are learning all these things. So it shouldn't be seen as some evil that is. I think it's part of the training. That's what I see.
I mean, I went to Takwa Senior High School. Yeah. And although we had boreholes and all that, I mean, sometimes the water in the borehole gets finished, or even sometimes there is this very long queue that you can't really. So sometimes we just let me say improvise.
I remember.
Sachet of water.
Yes. I was watching someone saying, I think a nursing trainee or something, and it was talking about the fact that they were going on demonstrations, and I said, well, that's okay, but you know, nursing training allowance was cancelled, and then when the president came back, he brought it back. If today government is not having the money to pay you, why are you going to demonstrate? The thing was cancelled and was brought back. So you should know that if the government said, I'm not going to pay, that's a different thing. But if the money is not there, they are getting ready or preparing to do for you. You just have to exercise some patience and help yourself. At the end of the day, most of the nurses we produce in this country don't even work here. They travel outside the country.
Yes.
And they will tell you that the condition here is not good. Anyway, that's our discussion for today. So let's not waste time. Lauren Shaw, baby,
Sure.
thank you very much. And
You're
God bless
welcome.
you. I appreciate your time and everything. God bless you so much. God bless you. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. So in our uniqueness, we are different, but that should be a plus for us as Africans. However, our attitudinal deficiency has made us inferior even in our own continent. Anything African is inferior. However, this negative attitude is not displayed when Africans travel outside. What makes Africans behave appropriately outside? Clearly, we still carry colonized mindset. Has our educational system addressed this negative attitudinal mindset and therefore a change for the better? What about corruption? How can it be eroded from our nation's fabric? Does our educational system tackle this huge issue? How about colonization in Africa? Is it accountable for the negative mindset about Africa? Does our formal and informal education deal with this problem? How about African leadership? What is right? What is the right way forward? With all these challenges we are faced with, how does our education answer the need for the indigenous to have correct and appropriate mindset?
Class 91.3 FM. Now
Why don't you believe that you could own a company? Why the first thing you look for is a job instead of look for a business? And it's subtle questions, but why? Why do you go to college and study an area that guarantees employment rather than guarantees deployment? Because your hard drive is stuck.
Class 91.3 FM. Now that's
I have taken my students on field trips to hospitals where we have asked the questions. The medical devices you are using, if we were to produce some in Ghana right now, would you use them? And we've been told point blank, no. How can we know that they work? We have curricula that don't encourage exploration and problem solving. It's not about solving any problem. It is about getting that certificate so that somebody would employ them. They have been programmed to respond to a reward system that rewards rote learning. They are the expert. We take the best. And the best means these are the people who can memorize the most. Our best students are pushed to go to medical school. The next best will now think about engineering when they don't get into medical school, many of them. And then they come. So they have no true passion for engineering when they come. We will pick the best students who know how to memorize over a student who actually knows how to do something. This is what we are running. We have an education system which does not produce what we want, and yet we are uninterested or unable to get it to produce what we want. And so we wind up producing engineers who don't engineer. And in fact, I'm not expected to engineer because if per chance they did engineer, nobody would be interested in their engineering.
Class 91.3 FM.
That is why we have the STEM schools now. A lot of people don't understand what is going on. But in the next 5 to 10 years, you will understand what the president is doing. He's sowing a seed that we're going to reap very soon. We just have to change our mindset. And today I have one of the finest lecturers in this country. this man has a certain grace on him. You see him and you like him. He is a father. These are the people who are helping build this country. I have with me Mr. Godwin Kwame Tete Ariko. Mr. Godwin Kwame Tete Ariko. He's an African literature lecturer at the African University College of Communications here in Accra. Mr. Ariko, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's a blessing to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Wow. I mean, God bless you so much for coming. We appreciate you. And I believe that the minister is happy listening to you this morning.
Thank you.
One of the things that I really want you to share with us, I believe that sometimes our own lives are inspiration. Some of the things we do are inspiration. How are you able to get everyone around
Class
you
91.3
focused
FM.
and, on board of what you do? I mean, I've sat before you as a student, and when you enter the lecture hall, it's like everybody's excited. How do you achieve that?
Right. Thank you very much. In the first place, the name is God's Will.
God's will, yeah. God's will.
Will.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry about that. God's will.
Right. Thank you very much. To some extent, it's all about training. A good number of people find themselves doing a lot of things that they are not trained for.
Okay.
And so it results in not doing it well because you were not trained for it.
Okay.
You didn't even decide to even do what it takes to do that. Let's assume you didn't even train to become a media person, and you find yourself there. You need to read, you need to inquire, make a lot of inquiries so that you can function very well on your job. Now, for some of us in lecture halls, we decided to be teachers.
Okay.
And so from secondary school, we went to teacher training college.
Okay.
In the first place, to be trained as teachers. And so we have been there from, let me put it, class 1 or even KG all the way. And then making... You
would have been a very powerful organizer for a political party.
You understand? So we train to be teachers.
Yeah.
And yes, a couple of people have left, but some of us are still there. And so the training is there in terms of how to manage people in class.
Wow.
There is this song by Konimo, Addition Yaya. Learning is a very difficult thing. And for you to get learners to be with you, there are certain things you need to cultivate so that you don't stress them up. It is difficult, yes, but you are making it interesting. It is. They are not understanding it, but you are giving examples that perhaps are around them. We say we learn from the known to unknown. So you must ensure that you are getting the people interested in what they are doing. Because the thing is already difficult. I mean, Professor Anku using some mathematics and people don't. It's just because they are not being taught the right way. They are not being involved and getting the basics of what it is that will make them understand the thing. And that is why people fail most of the time. Not because they are not good, but because the person who is teaching them sometimes didn't do the right thing. He didn't get them to understand the very basics of their...
So it means that in education, the basics are very important.
Very, very important.
You miss it and you are gone.
Very, very important. Everybody knows something before he steps into a class.
Okay.
It doesn't matter the level. You are getting to KG1, nursery 1. And you know something already. You know something already, and that is what whoever is going to teach you must build on.
Wow.
You are getting to class 1 and you know something already from your house, from your parents, from your siblings, or whoever your environment in which you are coming from. And that is what the teacher must build on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ariko. Let's look at Africa. Today we look at changing our mindset as Africans. Now, you work around town.
Right.
There's a gentleman who, does some Facebook live programs, and sometimes he's showing us America and insulting our president and all of us inclusive. And some of the things he says are, look at the streets. There's no garbage. There's no filth. Our gardens are clean. Now, some of these Ghanaians who live in this country travel outside the country, and when they go, they say the system works there.
Right.
They come to Ghana or they live in this country,
Right.
and they are just messing up everything. I mean, what is wrong with us?
What is wrong with us? That's a very important question. As people, as Africans, in the first place, some of us are very passionate about the continent Africa. And we didn't even go to African studies to go and study for the sake of, because we didn't have any option. We purposely went there at the Institute of African Studies, set up by the first president of this country, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, purposely to ensure that the African learn something about himself, something about his continent, something about his society, and then apply it at the global level or whatever level. And so anytime Africa comes to mind, or the name Africa is mentioned, some of us are very, very passionate about it. And it doesn't matter where we go, we will always come back and stay in Africa because everything is here. But a good number of problems that we have on the continent, I don't really know which ones you are specific about, whether environment, economy, education, or whatever.
I'm talking about the holistic, African.
Yeah.
Look at let's come back. If you are in this country, one of the things we can look at is our environment.
Yes.
I mean, why do we always, somebody is sitting in a car, drinks water, and just throws the rubber?
Okay.
You see somebody literate, he's gone to school, he's a degree holder, he's supposed to be a learned person.
Okay.
He drives on the motorway, picks all the garbages from his house, drops them on the motorway, for example. But this is somebody who has gone to school and expect that at least. So why are we like that?
It's a bit difficult to sit here and say that. But to a large extent, a good number of people who do these things that are so unpatriotic, littering environment, for example, that one you are mentioning, some of them are people who, I'm sorry to say, are not educated.
Okay.
And my education is in quote. Because if you are educated, you will know that even the garbage in your house has some use. Even the garbage in your house, whether it's plastic, whether it's biodegradable or non-biodegradable, it has some use. Unfortunately, some level of education has not been shared with many Ghanaians on how this garbage, what you think as garbage, is all very, very resourceful, something from your own house. And so they are carrying it about, looking for a place to dump. Well, the best place to dump it is that rubbish dump or wherever that you can pay. Unfortunately, that is also not they are not passionate about going to pay and dispose the garbage properly, and that is why they end up littering it. And so it's all about education and lack of patriotism, lack of knowledge about your environment, how to keep your own environment very clean and healthy, so that, I mean, because whatever it is that you are dropping there, yes, you might live far away, but it has some effect on you in the long run, not necessarily in the short run. You know, so as people, indeed, we have a challenge. A good number of them, or a good number of the challenges, have to do with education. I see people on the street, and that is where they live. There is no rubbish heap around. There is no place of convenience around. There is no urinal where they could even wee. And so they are doing it just there. Again, it's also about education. Because where these people have found themselves and the environment, that is the only way. And so you get to places like Adabraka and you don't expect to see certain things, but they are there. Just because these people do not have the education that it takes to manage some of these issues. Yeah.
When Obama came to Ghana, one of the things he said is, yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
In other words, there's nothing impossible for us to do as Africans.
In fact, one of the important things he said to me was that we must make our institutions work. That was one statement I picked from Obama.
Yeah. Yes, and now, why are we so negative? I say we are negative because, for example, if I went out to buy a shoe and I wore it and you asked me and I said, okay, so this shoe is nice. Where did you buy it? Oh, I bought it from Kumasi. It was made by a gentleman.
Okay.
Another person comes to you and tells you my shoe was made from Italy. The African or the Ghanaian is likely to say, anyway, papa, papa.
Okay.
This one is good, it's not good.
Right.
Why don't we appreciate what we are? Why do we prefer things from our side? Why is our mindset like that?
Okay, thank you. Now, those of you who have engaged a little bit with African history knows about slavery, and then from slavery to colonialism, former colonialism, from about 1900. And what colonialism basically aimed at was to ensure that the African, to a large extent, doesn't appreciate what belongs to him or what is his. In the Francophone countries, for example, everything about African was to change except the complexion. Right? They needed to change how you eat, what you wear, how you wear it. Everything needed to change about you except your skin. Even the language you speak, including, till today, language enslavement is still there. Look at the language you and I are speaking. And so, same thing with the English system. So, from about 1900 all the way to perhaps Ghana's independence, the African was given an orientation that was to make him, let me say, an European.
Okay.
In whichever way he thinks. And that is when we began to develop taste for a lot of things that are Western, And so that is the genesis of these things. Of course, some of them stretch all the way down into colonial era, where we began to develop taste for, not colonial, era of transatlantic slave trade, where we began to develop taste for a lot of things that are Western or from Europe. But what independence meant was to ensure that they win us, or we are weaned from these Western products, so that we can do, or we can taste, or we can produce, we can use what is actually ours. Unfortunately, Nkrumah's agenda, for example, didn't really sync very well with a lot of people, and so they were. Nkrumah wanted us to be independent in everything. Excuse me to say, in everything. I don't know what you not in food, not in transport, not in media, including our own radio. They were even making Radio Kasanuma and other things over here. Unfortunately, Nkrumah didn't stay for that long, and that mentality to continue to depend on the West to a large extent came back after Nkrumah's exit, so that people again continue to have taste. When I say taste, everything, including clothes, including shoes, including even marriage. Excuse me to say, you want to marry a lady today, and it's like, if he doesn't go to church, which is Western, which is Western in outlook.
And that's a big problem we have.
That's a big problem. Unfortunately, for marriage in particular, it was English who brought the issue of marriage into the church. If you are a pastor somehow, when you read the Bible, Jesus was invited to a church I mean, to a wedding.
Yeah.
Out. I mean, a marriage outside. It's not in church. Oh, it
That's
didn't
right.
happen in
Yes.
church. It was in somebody's house.
Mm.
It is in the parents. The parents' house. That is where the wedding. I mean, the marriage
The
was
marriage,
taking place.
yeah.
No. So everything about us was to make us independent, so that we don't depend on a white person to a large extent. Unfortunately, that agenda has not worked for a number of people. Some people even intentionally do this thing because, let me put it, because of selfish interest. For example, anytime I go to some shops, I see how rice is coming from as far as Vietnam, which must not be into this country. And it is purposely to ensure that some people remain in business.
Okay.
Meanwhile, rice is locked up in northern region.
Wow.
Rice is locked up in Akpafu. Rice is locked up in Asochuare here, where they have produced quality Ghanaian rice. But we will not take that. Somebody's business is to ensure that, look, don't let it go there. Let me go and bring that one so that I remain in business. Or I remain in, I'm the one dictating or having monopoly over these issues. So, the issue of mindset is very, very important and is key to these things. And people are simply not buying into the independence agenda.
Okay.
That, look, we are independent. We should learn to depend on our products. They are not good, but that is it. It is only when we continue to buy them or patronize them and they keep on making it that they can make a better one. So that the shoe you mentioned, for example, when you don't buy that shoes and the young man doesn't keep making it over and over and over again, he doesn't get to master the art of doing something that is exceptionally quality. It is only when you are doing it. For example, if you can even mention or trace your own first days in media house as a radio person, making all forms of mistakes. But with time, constant practice, constant engagement, you are able to now perhaps sit at the studio and you are flowing freely. It is all about practice. That practice makes perfection. And so we should trust in our things, our products. A good number of us, especially having to come out of African studies, you change a lot of things about how you do things, including your own home, your family, and things. And personally, apart from perhaps walking into a restaurant and the options are few, in my own house where you have control, there are things you can be independent about, just to ensure that we keep the Ghanaian economy floating. When we are independent in terms of taste, what we eat, what we produce, many people wouldn't be jobless. Many people will not be jobless. Because if you are eating a Ghanaian product, then definitely a young man who is into poultry, who is into rice farming or whatever, will also be employed. But when the person has produced for some time and is not getting the market because you are consuming outside, he wants to abandon it. When we wear Ghanaian clothes, or Ghanaian made clothes, then we will keep a lot of young men also into textile design and other industries so that they can be producing for us. Unfortunately, the taste, the call for independence in terms of having to rely on what is authentically ours has been missing for a lot of people.
Okay. All right. Now, thank you very much, Mr. Ariko. Leadership is supposed to put this kind of direct as to what must be done or what is the best for us. Now, going outside this country to be educated, you are being educated for that part where you
are training.
So you finish and then you come to Ghana to come and lead in this country. The people who go outside to train, majority of them lead this country. Does it have effect on the way they lead in terms of or looking at it from this angle that you have an European way of thinking, but you are leading an African country, or you are a leader in an African country, will you be focused so much on the things of Africa? Or because you are programmed that way, the things that you do may contradict what we know? Or is it something that is global? The knowledge I'm receiving can be applied on the African continent, or can't be applied?
Leadership is an art, and there are some leaders that are born. There are some leaders that are actually trained to become leaders, and I want to believe that it doesn't matter where you train, you should be able to apply some skills, and lead whichever people you are leading. And so when people train in Europe or in America to acquire their degrees or whatever, I don't think they cannot function on the continent. I mean, excuse me to say, Nkrumah, after training as a teacher, teaching at Achimota College, left for US, studied there, came back and functioned so well, just because he was actually educated to and has what it takes, or he was even ready to learn. And so it doesn't matter where you train, you can lead as a leader. I think the problem is that for many of these people who train outside, when they return to the continent, they don't rely on the institutions that are to function, the institutions Obama talk about. They are either bending the rules, but per what they have read there, the institutions are not functioning. I mean, somebody commits an offense, and instead of allowing the law to work, you are seeing people are making all forms of calls to ensure that they bend the rule, and what it is doesn't. I mean, the law is not allowed to operate, and that is where the problem is. And so, Western education, to a large extent, must not affect negatively how leaders function on the continent. And I think it doesn't matter where you train, whether you train here or you train there. I mean, we've had Ghanaians who have trained here in Ghana and others who have trained abroad. And we can't say that those who train abroad were best or better than those who train in this part of the country. Leadership is about application of art or skills. I mean, you are managing people, and you are reading, you are looking at the problem and
finding solutions.
Very innovative solutions. And to some extent, it's not even what you studied there. It's about what is on the ground. You know, when you are a footballer and your coach teaches you how to play, blah blah blah. When you get to field, it is what is happening on the field that you are. I mean, that training or coaching that you had is when you get a ball and you have to kick, and you know that no, this one when you kick you can score. This one you must pass. That kind of thing. So it needs some level of application, and principles and theories sometimes don't work in some of these issues. You must know what to apply, when to apply it. Maybe innovative. Innovative. I mean, again, we must be ready to experiment. You must be ready to experiment. Many people are so afraid of failure because they think, what if I try this thing and it doesn't work?
Yeah, ask you for example.
Exactly. If it doesn't work, yes, you get to know that you tried and this one didn't work.
It's when you start that you find the weaknesses.
The weaknesses in it, and then you try to solve it. So innovation is very, 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 very important.
Let me ask you, Mr. Ariko.
Yes.
With the issue of corruption, for example,
right?
Most of us who are coming out from the universities are going to work. We came to study to be able to influence society positively.
Right.
What are some of the things that are causing corruption, for example? Because I'm coming from school. Why will I finish school, go out there and be corrupt? Or why will I go out from school and not be patriotic, for example? What are the schools teaching the African that will help the African build himself and then build society?
Okay. Now, with the issue of corruption, for example, I can only say that, when you have a certain number of people in a society, it is not in vain that they establish police posts or police stations at different places. Once you have a number of people in a particular community, there must be a police who will police these people. Because one, there are going to be very honest people there. There are going to be criminals. In fact, let me put the number. Once you have exceeded, let me say 1,000, you can be sure out of that 1,000 there is a criminal and there is somebody who is not a criminal. And so among our leaders, in the same way that there are very honest people and there are very patriotic people, similarly, people are not the same. People differ.
1.3 FM.
People differ. And so, naturally, people are, some, one, two, not all, may have this corruptible instinct right within them. And so once they find themselves there, it doesn't matter whether they are Europeans, it doesn't matter whether they are Africans. In fact, corruption equally takes place in Europe. And it's very serious there than it happens sometimes even in Africa. And so once you have, let me say, exceeded this number of people, you can be very sure that there are honest people among them and there are corrupt people also among them. Indeed, no institution would teach a leader to become corrupt. No, it is an instinct. It is something that...
How are we going to get that instinct
that
corrected?
If the person is corrupt, he's corrupt. It doesn't matter what.
Wow.
He's corrupt. Wow. And he may have all the world's money, but he's still looking for more.
If the person is corrupt, he's corrupt. So I'm here with Mr. Goswell Kwame Tete Areko, who is an African literature lecturer at African University College of Communications here in Accra. And we are talking about changing the African mindset for national development. It's time for you to call and contribute to the show. And the number is 0302 20 80 80. 0302 20 80 80. Call us. We are expecting your call. And let me remind you, this program is proudly sponsored by the Ministry of Education. Honorable Dr. Yao Seiduchu, wherever you are, God bless you. You are anointed for what you are doing. God is with you. Ghana is going to make it. Something that you said at Pure FM in Kumasi. He said, we are building people who will not go to the office and sit down for instructions, but they will be innovative and bring new ideas. These are the kind of people we are producing. We may not see the effect of what we are doing today, but we're going to see it tomorrow. The school president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. God bless you wherever you are. God bless you. We have a caller on the line. Let's speak. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Your name and where you are calling us from?
My name is Samuel Abraham. I'm calling from Santa.
Uncle Sammy, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Talk to us, sir.
Yes, I think today I really enjoy your program.
Thank you.
I'm very impressed on the particular topic you are treating today. I think it is high time we begin to look at certain key things in our institution as a country. That is the only way it can function, especially in the education system. There are certain things that we cannot rule out.
Okay.
So until we have the right leader in a position we cannot get it right. So I think today I really, really enjoyed the program. God richly bless you.
Okay, Honorable Samuel Abri, God bless you so much for your call. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, there's someone else on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, your name and where you're calling us from, sir?
My name is Victor, calling from Aguhekat, Ashama.
Good. Victor, talk to us, sir.
Actually, we are part of the environment.
Mm-hmm.
We come out from the ground, we come out from the water, we come out from the air, we come out from everything. So if you don't take care of your environment, meaning you are not taking care of yourself.
That's right.
So we've been convinced a lie has been going on even from the heaven down to this earth. We were not teach the right thing, and they keep on lying to us, and we ourselves, we are not realizing it, and we are still in that situation up to now.
Victor, when you say they keep lying to us, what are you talking about?
There are things that we were taught.
Oh, okay,
in terms of religion.
Okay.
In terms of being spiritual, rather.
Okay.
We were like different kind of religions, and we are messing ourselves up.
All right, Victor, thank you very much. God bless you for calling. You can still call us on 0302 2080 0302 2080. Mr. Rico,
Yes.
I mean, you heard what our caller said. What do you have to say to it?
The last caller is very passionate about religion, and it's very important. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian, but very often I am not happy what Christians do. Greater number of Ghanaians are Christians, and so if things are not working well, there is corruption, there is littering of environment. You can be sure that it is the Christians who are doing these things. I'm not saying there are no Muslims traditionally, but this whole institution called Christianity and how people are hiding under it and doing what is absolutely wrong, including the corruption, is getting many of us very, very, very worried. And traditionalists perhaps will not even do that because they believe that they must be very, very honest, and that their deity or whatever it is that they worship will strike them if they did not show some level of honesty or patriotism to whatever it is they are doing. So, to a large extent, Christianity in this part of the world is not helping us. And you go to places like Asia, Japan, China, and they are holding on to their religions, traditional religions, other than Christianity, and things are working. Things are working so well. Things are working so well. So, yes, Christianity. Those of us who are Christians and are always doing the wrong thing and believing, Christ will forgive us and those kind of things.
Now you mentioned earlier that corruption is inbuilt, and that no matter which education a person receives,
if the person is corrupt, he's corrupt. Because there are people who you can't corrupt.
Okay,
you understand? It doesn't matter what you do to them, you can't corrupt them, and so they are not corrupt. But there are others that you can also corrupt because he's corrupt.
Let's go, for example, cheating in our institutions. I mean, during examination, people cheat.
Right.
When people cheat, they are punished in a way.
All right.
The person who cheated and is not punished will go out there and still be cheating. So, is there no way, or some of the things that we exhibit in our schools, I mean, not symptoms of corruption that can be dealt with in a way so that the person grows up? Because scripture says, for example, that a double-minded person is unstable in all his ways.
Okay.
So when you are double-minded, it affects every sphere of your life.
All right.
So there are certain symptoms that at least we can see that when we see this trace in you, it means that you can become this. We see this kind of seed planted in you. This is what it can become, so that we can do something about it without admitting, for example, that once the person is corrupt, whatever you do the person will be corrupt? Is there no way out? Is there no sign and symptom that shows that this person, if you do this, once I see this person behaving this way in school, it's likely that when he goes out, that's what he's going to do. Is there not something like that?
Now, that's a good point. In the West, I do know that for you to take up certain positions, especially in governance, the intelligence unit of that country will go out there and do a very thorough work about you.
That's right.
From your KG or even nursery all the way till the time you are taking up this position. They will dig, and once they find that no, perhaps you cheated, you raped or anything that taint your life.
I believe what you're saying, because even at AUCC, the recent elections that were held, the SRC elections, someone was disqualified because of previous.
That is what is done in many Western countries. Unfortunately, this place, you are the president, you appoint, and excuse me to say, the person you have appointed.
So you think because we don't dig?
We don't dig. Otherwise, people wouldn't take certain positions that they don't qualify for it. There are a lot of things that has happened in their life that they have been failures. They have failed a countless number of times, and you can be sure that when he takes out that position, he will mess it up. I remember when Donald Trump was seeking to be elected as president, leader of his party. Some of his own friends were saying that no, Donald is going to make a mess. And he did make a mess of it, because they know the man, they have been with him. So we don't dig. That is why we put people in positions that they are not able to.
Because we go to school for a very long time. So some of the things teachers, some of the remarks teachers are making on your report card.
And they are keeping records in the school.
Maybe it has to do with database. I mean, there should be a system where if I click your name, Abraham, I should be able to track from day one. I mean, history, everything about what you've done.
Exactly.
To aid me in whether appointing you to become something or not.
Exactly. To some extent, it's about record keeping and database. Unfortunately, this part of the world, record keeping is not the very best.
I think we're about doing it.
Yes, digitization and others are aiming at these things. You get to a school where you attended and you want to find out about that person, and the record is simply not
available.
There. And you have no option than to put him there, and then he or she will mess up. But some of them, you realize that from class 1, KG, they have been very intelligent. They have shown leadership. They were class prefects. They were school prefects. And they did manage their leaders. And that is the kind of person you put at the leadership position. And he's building from where he's coming from. And so we need to start this whole record keeping. The University of Ghana has Department of Information. They do record keeping, archival, and then librarianship. But many of these things, librarianship basically not is about books, but archives about records. You get to our national archives right there, very close to National Holy Spirit Cathedral. How many people go there to go?
Maybe because we don't know.
We don't know. They don't know that records are there. You get to our schools and unfortunately, the record about that person. Yeah, we know he attended Suedu SDA GSS. You get there and you can't find any record.
You get there, you can't find any record. You can still call us on 0302 20 80 80, 0302 20 80 80, 0302 20 80 80. Now, let Mr. Rico, you look at us as Africans.
Right.
I always ask this question: is democracy for us? Because one of the things I've seen is where we, for instance, in this country, have two political parties. When one party is in power, everything the other party does is not right. When it goes that way. So sometimes certain things that could help is resisted. Why should we not see things from the angle of benefits or as a people? This thing will be good for. Why are we always negative? Why do we why do we see negativity in things? Not what informs that? Why are we like that?
You said there are two political parties. There are two leading political parties. There
yes.
are other political parties
yes, okay.
in this country which are also doing their own thing down there.
Yeah.
Now, it's very unfortunate that in this part of the world, we see minority or being minority as being opposition. You are in minority, but it's not about position. It's about providing alternative solutions to the issue. Unfortunately, it is not about alternative. It's about oppose.
Okay.
I mean, no, we don't like this. And for some time now, especially over the last 20 years or more, the two leading political parties are building a class of, let me put it, they call it communicators, party communicators. And sometimes when you listen to them on radio, you can be sure that, no, what you are telling us is absolutely propaganda. You are not telling us the truth. What these people are doing is right. This is the challenge. And you should be thinking about how the challenge can be corrected. Let me talk about the free HSS, for example. It's a very good policy, excellent policy, and definitely to give access. In fact, I
will give access, please,
to a lot of people.
Thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Yeah, please, your name and where you're calling us from. Okay, speak to us.
You see, my brother, this country we are now, the country is full of lawlessness.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Areko.
I didn't hear him.
I think you should continue with your...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's about providing alternatives. It's not about opposing. I remember the president telling us to be citizens.
Yes.
Citizens know what you are doing is right. This is what you expect to be done. It's not about what you are doing is wrong
and nothing
and
is
nothing
is you don't provide
done.
any solution.
No.
We don't build a country like that.
We don't build a country like that.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Areko. God bless you so much for your time.
Okay.
Is there something you want to tell us as a people? Finally.
Yes. There is. I'm not an Neve, but there is a proverb in Neve that says that those red ants.
Yeah.
There are some red ants that bend leaves.
Okay.
And they stay in them.
Yeah. Okay.
You climb an orange tree and they.
Yes.
That those ants say that they are able to bend leaves when the leaves are very fresh. Very, very fresh. Fresh leaves from the bud. They are able to bend them. Then when the leaves have grown and have become so mature, they can't bend them again.
Okay.
And what we need to do as people is to bend young ones.
Okay, great.
Very, very young children that we have in our care now. Some of us, excuse me to say, we are so grown we can't be bent. But we need to bend the young ones in primary school, in GSS. I was listening to Kennedy Japan only this week, redefining PAD as patriotism. I mean, the P is for patriotism, the H is for honesty, and then I think the D is for determination or something like that. So these are some of the things we need to start to inculcate in our children, young children, so that we build a complete new generation of Ghanaians or Africans who have been taught to be patriotic, who have been taught to be honest, who have been taught to be hardworking, who have been taught to be independent, that they can rely on their own, make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and correct them. That they can wear African, they can eat African, they can marry African, they can stay on the continent and make it. I mean, God didn't put us here to be poor, as the president used to say. We can make it here. We can make it here if only we will be very, very honest and passionate and consume what is actually ours.
That's right.
It is only when we continue to look at these phones, all of them are coming from the East. And we give them jobs. Look at how much we spend buying them. RLG phones. If that company had been in existence from the time they started making, they would have been making similar phones like this. And we will have a lot of African youths or Ghanaian youths working there. Unfortunately, that company collapsed simply because we're not even patronizing some of their things. So it's about patronizing what is ours and then building up on it. And we can make it.
All right.
I am very confident about this. Look, when you look at Africa as a continent, my professor sent me this, Professor Asaropoku. He sent this thing to me only this week. I'll forward it to you.
Okay.
And the African continent, the continent Africa, USA, the entire USA will be part of it. China will find when you leave China, it will fit into Africa. India will fit into Africa. Japan will fit here. The entire Eastern Europe will fit here. Germany will be here. Spain will be here. France will be here. Portugal will be. And so, what else? We have everything. And we have so much that the Europeans have. That one. I mean, I personally have stopped relying on natural resources. This cocoa, gold, and blah, blah. Now it's about the head. It's about the mind. And once we can change this mind and begin to rely and consume and use what is authentically African, I believe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ariko.
Thank you very much.
We've been here with Mr. Goswell Kwame Teta Ariko, who's an African literature lecturer at the African University College of Communications. It's a blessing to have you tune into this program. Thank you very, very much. Those of you who did the listening, those of you who called, God bless you. Our time is up. Next week, God willing, I'm going to see you again. I want to say a good morning to the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Yawosei Educhum. Wherever you are, God bless you, your deputies, and all the regional directors of education, district directors of education, teachers, and all those who are helping making this country a better place through education. The president says he's transforming Ghana through education. And so he's invested so much into this education sector. And I believe that as a people, we must appreciate what the government is doing. Wherever you are, you're an African, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Let's change our mindset. And I believe God will help us rise. Take care of yourself. Be good. See you next week.